Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. This looks like a lot. It might be a lot. But today, we're talking all the awesome Asian ingredients you need to make some seriously good Asian food. I don't want you guys to feel overwhelmed. I know this looks like a lot of stuff, but I actually have it separated, and trust me, there's a method to my madness. So on this side are all the things that I think are imperative for you to have in your home for really incredible Asian cooking. And this side is really the stuff that's specialty that I don't think you have to have, but it's the stuff that I stock just because I like to, if I get a whim, to be able to make whatever. This is why Jimmy does not love to go to the Asian market with me, because when we go, I kind of black out and just throw everything in my cart because I get so excited. So we're gonna start on this side with all the necessities. I'm gonna start from the back and we're gonna kind of work our way forward. I also have some duplicate items here. That's why it looks kind of crazy. So I'm gonna start with rice. Now let me say, I am doing an entire rice video because rice is its own animal. I know that there are a lot of conversations about how you should cook rice. Everybody has their idea of it. So I'm gonna do kind of a rice 101 to let you guys know how I think you should cook rice and talk to you about all the different kinds of rice. So these are kind of my basics that I think you should definitely have in your house kitchen. Now I'm gonna start with, also, you know you have a problem when you have enough coconut milk to prop up your rice for a video. It's okay, don't judge me. Let's start with jasmine rice. Now, this is my favorite brand of jasmine rice. It's the I call it the Three Sisters, but it's the Three Ladies brand. It's Thai. This is the rice that you're going to use to make all of your Thai goodness. Any Thai dish that you're going to make uses jasmine rice. Now, because of that, I kind of use jasmine rice for a lot of things. Here in the States, everybody uses that long grain white rice, whereas in Asian cooking, they use that nowhere, ever. And so this is what you're going to want. You can get this a lot of places. Understand though, jasmine rice is more expensive than that long grain white rice because it's more of a specialty item. I love this one. I think it's fantastic. This is what we ate and bought when we were in Thailand. And so that's why when I find it at my Asian market, I buy it. I buy these smaller bags. They have them in like 20-pound bags. If I had the storage available, that's how I would buy my rice, but I don't. So I buy them in these size bags and I put them in 64-ounce mason jars. So that's how I keep them airtight. So you need this, jasmine rice. I should also mention to you that jasmine rice is pretty readily available at any store. So if you guys go to your local market, you can find it. They also have it at Trader Joe's. I will tell you, Trader Joe's has pretty good jasmine rice. I bought it for a while before I was able to find the Three Ladies at my local Asian market. So you're pretty set there. Second kind of rice, keep my stuff from falling over, is a Japanese rice. Japanese rice is a medium to shorter grain. It's totally different. It also cooks totally differently and tastes totally different. That's why a lot of Japanese food, the rice is almost pillowy and it's not puffy, but it's really soft. And this is not sushi rice. Understand that. Sushi rice is a totally different thing. This is just Japanese rice. This is a great brand. This is a more affordable brand of Japanese rice. You can spend a lot of money if you really try to on rice. Jimmy and I have spent, what, $25 one time on a bag, not much bigger than this, of rice. And before you judge us, it's because it came from Niigata in Japan, which is like where you buy rice. And it was probably the best rice we've ever had that we bought in the States. So, so good. So this is a good one that's pretty affordable, and you get the same texture and softness and yumminess from this rice. So get you a Japanese rice. Noodles. Now, I'm covering all the carbs first, guys, because there's so mmany different kinds. Noodles is another thing I feel like I should do a noodle video, because you have your rice noodles, you have your rice noodle rolls, you've got, you know, egg noodles, you have, The list goes on and on and on. So I'm gonna let you know the 3 kinds of noodles I think you should definitely stock in your house. Let's start with my favorite and the one that I feel is probably the most versatile. These are rice noodles, but they are typically used for pad thai. They're a little wider, and it usually will say pad thai on them. This is, they call them rice sticks, but I bought this in my local Asian market. And when I say local, guys, I mean an hour from where I live. That's the closest good Asian market that I can find. So I understand when this is not seemingly super accessible to you. So no, I drive to get to good Asian market too, but when I go, I stock up. So these are what you use for pad thai. These are Thai noodles. They are a product of Thailand. I try to stay true to the country that I'm cooking out of, because you can never go wrong if you get a good Thai pad thai noodle. They have the brand Thai Kitchen. Now, they sell a pad thai noodle. Don't buy that one. That's probably the most accessible one. It is not good. I've bought it, I've tested it, I have tried it. It's way too glutinous for me. I don't care for it, so try to avoid that. I know if you may not have an Asian market, even within driving distance of you, there are some online choices and options for you guys that I'm gonna make sure and put in the description box if I can. Amazon, some of those things, so you guys can still find this stuff and it be really good, true ingredients for you. So I'll do my best to take care of you there. So pad thai noodles, you need that. 2 more kinds of noodles. Ramen. I think you need ramen noodles. This is very, very important. And when I say ramen noodles, I don't mean the bag with the seasoning packet and all of the sodium. Those aren't ramen noodles. Those are instant noodles. You want actual ramen, true, good ramen noodles. You can use this for a lot of stuff, guys. It's not just ramen. So these are very versatile noodles that I think you can use in a lot of things. So get you some ramen. The last noodle that I think you should stock in your house is a vermicelli noodle. Now these are, I don't remember where these are actually from. Does it tell me? Product of Vietnam. That's probably why I was wanting to make pho. So these are really, really fantastic. They're thinner. They're made out of like mung bean powder, potato starch, and water. They're not nearly as, I don't know the right word. They're not as thick as like a rice noodle or ramen. They're much thinner and they go down much easier. They're softer. So this is a really good one. You can use this in all kinds of dishes. It's a lot of it is used in Vietnamese cooking. You see a lot of vermicelli there. So that's why I stock this. So I feel like I can really cover Japan, Thailand, and a lot of stuff from Vietnam with these 3 noodles. You're pretty set. Let's do sauces. I'm gonna start with Jimmy's least favorite item, but this is one that I actually quite like. This is fish sauce. Now, you use fish sauce in so much Asian cooking, and what's funny is you probably have no idea that it's in there. I can't taste it. He swears he can. I think it's just pickiness personally, but you use this a lot with Thai food. You use this a lot in Vietnamese food. You use this in really everything. Fish sauce gives you a really beautiful salty bite, but it also adds a really incredible layer of umami. And when you hear people say umami, what that means is it adds salt, savory, and layers to your food. So when you eat American food, you really get 1 to 2 flavor profiles. Now, when you eat Indian food, you get like 4 or 5. And it's the same thing with Asian food. You get 4 or 5 different layers of flavor, usually sweet, salty, sour is what you typically have. So you get 3, and then you get a bit of like a veggie or a protein. So that's why there's so many layers. So you want umami flavor when you're making Asian food because it builds that layer of profile that you want. There's also a lot of different kinds of fish sauce. This is the 3 Crab brand. This is one that I really, really like. We saw this a lot when we were actually in Asia. This is a really good one. They have others. This is a Vietnamese brand. I kind of prefer it. There's other different kinds of fish sauce though. You can get very specific with it. They have sweet fish sauce. They have even saltier fish sauce. They have sour fish sauce. They have so much of it. So I do this one because it's pretty generalized. And then if I want to make a sauce with fish sauce that's sweet, I can add a little brown sugar. I can add some honey. I can add those layers of sweetness to my sauce without having to necessarily do it with this. So a good basic fish sauce. You're gonna need that. Let's talk soy. Soy sauce is another one. I feel like I could do individual videos for so much of this, you guys. There are so many different kinds of soy sauce. It would blow your brain if I went into how much of it. And I keep probably, 4 different kinds of soy sauce in my house.
just because I like those layered flavors. But this is actually Korean brand. I love this one. This is my second one. These are big ones. I use this so much, but I've tried a lot of different soy sauces, and this is the only one that I've rebought because I prefer it. It's rich and decadent, it says on the label, but this is a really fantastic one. It really gives you a well-rounded soy flavor, but it's not overly salty, which I really love. Now, when you use these soy sauces, you don't need to add salt or anything else, so it really covers that salty layer for you. This is a really great brand. But if you have another brand that you prefer, buy that. Either way, you need a good basic soy sauce. Let's talk my probably favorite ingredient of any kind of Asian cooking is toasted sesame oil. This is actually a Japanese brand. This is my favorite one. They also make millions of these. You can buy Korean brands. You can buy, it just goes on and on. But I love this one. It gives you a really rounded, beautiful flavor. This is very strong. Sesame oil is very, very strong. You open this bottle and you smell it right away. It doesn't take a lot. This is one of those, a little bit goes a long way. As you can see, I use a lot, but I like it. So this is the larger bottle. You can buy smaller bottles of this. I put this in everything. I put this in stuff that it probably doesn't even call for because I like the flavor and I feel like it adds so much to what you're cooking. I think it's so important. If it calls for 1 teaspoon, Jimmy and I typically add 2 because we love the flavor of this stuff so much. So sesame oil, must have. I'm gonna talk about these next 2 things together. You guys are gonna see that these are things I actually use, like my poor labels, they're so ugly because I don't know what happened to them. I put them together and they got all beat up. But mirin, rice vinegar. These are 2 things that you guys need to have in your home. Mirin is a sweet cooking seasoning or wine that is usually called for in Japanese food. It adds this really beautiful flavor to what you're making. I love, love, love mirin, and you can use it in so many different ways. So you need this in your home. This is really easy to find. You can find mirin in a local grocery store, really super easy. I bought both of these at a local market, like regular grocery store. I didn't go to an Asian store for these. The other one for rice vinegar, I love the rice vinegar with roasted garlic in it. I don't know why, but this adds your layer of sour. It's a little sour, but you put just a little bit and it really just, it makes whatever you're cooking come alive. It's incredible. So these 2, I think you definitely need. Your labels will be prettier than mine. Now let's talk Jimmy's very favorite ingredient. That would be hoisin sauce. Hoisin sauce is so good, you guys. You can use this in tons of stuff. This is actually also a nice sort of topper accompaniment for pho, which is, oh my God. It's sweet and a little tangy, like it gives you a different kind of flavor. This is also really easy to find. I buy obviously the industrial size huge bottle at my Asian market because we go through this stuff. You can add it to a stir fry. You can add it to any kind of marinade that you're doing. You can add this to so much stuff and it really just amps up your flavor in the most incredible way. And Jimmy's family, his parents aren't big like spicy people and they're kind of apprehensive with some Asian flavors. They'll eat the crap out of this. And so this is a really good safe sauce if you have anybody in your family that doesn't want something spicy, they're worried about all the Asian craziness. This is a good one, you're safe.
It's like an Asian barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it's like an Asian barbecue sauce. That's a really good way to put it, but it's not, it tastes nothing like barbecue sauce, but it's the equivalent. Being from the South, I love myself some mayonnaise, you guys. I put mayonnaise in things that you probably should put mayonnaise in, but this is Japanese mayonnaise. This is not the same thing. I think you should have this in your house. Anytime you go have sushi, you know that spicy mayo that most everybody loves? It's this. It's this and like a sriracha sauce. I'll show you guys how to make it, don't worry. But this is what you need. Kewpie is the best brand for Japanese mayonnaise. They have other brands. This one, you gotta buy this one. I always buy like the big bottle. Next, coconut milk. If you guys don't buy anything else that I'm talking to you about, you need to buy this because you won't be able to make much with me if you don't. So, coconut milk. I don't have words for the love affair I have with coconut milk. I keep 8 cans in my house at a time. That's not an exaggeration. I might have 10 right now. Every time I go to the Asian market, I pick up 2 to 4 cans just because I put it in so much. You use this in so much and you can add it to things that you wouldn't even think about, like desserts, and it's a king ingredient for any kind of Southeast Asian cooking. You've got to have coconut milk. And then coconut cream. This is thicker and it's more like, I want to say luxurious, but that's probably the bad word. But coconut cream and coconut milk are not the same thing. So if you were to put your coconut milk in the refrigerator, you would get all the milk fat would raise to the top of the can, and that thick milk fat is your coconut cream. That's what's in this entire can. This adds a really like richness to what you use. You don't use near as much coconut cream as you do coconut milk because it is so rich, but it does add this just fabulous flavor to what you use it for. As you can tell, Roy D is my favorite brand. It's because this is the brand we knew of and bought when we were in Thailand, and it just makes me feel better to continue to buy it because I understand and know the quality of it. So this is a great one. One thing I should definitely mention to you guys in terms of coconut milk is they are not all created equal. The coconut milk in the carton, don't buy that. That's not what you're thinking that is. That's more like almond milk. You don't want that kind of coconut milk. It's not the same. You also need to be very careful about some cans that you may find at your grocery store. They are not all as good. They are not all created equal. Some of them are very watery and you don't even have that milk fat to it. It's just really awful, actually. I hate to say it, but I feel like the Whole Foods brand was the one I hated because it was way too watery. You can buy it at Trader Joe's. It's not bad. Theirs isn't bad. It's not amazing. What's weird is Jimmy actually found one at like the dollar store that he really liked that was decently thick. You want it to be creamy. You want it to be thick. Everybody has a different favorite. So if you guys don't like the brand that I like, that's okay. But just buy several and experiment with it. It needs to be creamy. It does not need to be watery, and it needs to be a little thick. So make sure it kind of has those components and you'll be okay. Also, you're set if it has some kind of foreign lettering. If it has Thai or Vietnamese or anything like that on it, you're usually pretty safe. Let's talk spicy. Now, this is my favorite part. I live for spicy food. So let's first talk about sriracha sauce. Now, something you guys should know is sriracha sauce is actually not Asian. This is made in California. They don't even have this in Asia anywhere. You can't find it. So this is an American product. However, I do keep it in my house because it yields some flavors that we're used to and that we like, and it can amp up some spicy, vinegary flavors that you want. This is my favorite one. It's Vietnamese. It is hot. It will light your life up, but it's also a little sweet. So when you're in Asia and you actually eat chili sauces there, they're either hot and sweet, more sweet than hot, or just a good mixture of the two. This is a good mixture of the two. It's not too sweet, it's not too hot, it's really well balanced. So this chinsu is my favorite. For the longest, I couldn't find it, but my Asian market started carrying it, and I'm super pumped. But last time I found it, went home to see my parents, and I bought 6 bottles because I couldn't find it anywhere, and it's like $6 on Amazon. So I may have to do regular giveaways for you guys for chinsu, so I can make sure you guys have it. Otherwise, check your Asian market for this because it's a must-have. I'm so obsessed with this, I have to tell you guys. Jimmy's cousin Troy lives in Tokyo, and if you've watched any of our Chubby Away videos, you saw him. He sent me a bottle. He went to Vietnam to visit a friend, bought me one, brought it back home, and his mom brought it home to Colorado when she was visiting, and they mailed it to me. Like, that's how real the obsession with chinsu is. Trust me, it's so good. Chili oil. Now, chili oil is typically a Chinese thing. They have this on tables when you go have dim sum and stuff like that. Now, I love this particular brand of chili oil. If there's a great debate about this lady, if it has this lady on the front of it, you're set. Buy this brand. It's so good. This is the spicy chili crisp. I really love this one. In fact, this is my backup because the one in the refrigerator is almost gone. But I love, love, love this. It's great. You can add it to rice just by itself. You can add it to anything you're cooking. I do a really delicious sauce that calls for chili oil. Call it dandy sauce. Don't worry about it. I'll show you how to make it on the show. This one is a homemade sauce that we actually bought at a Szechuan restaurant we went to in Dallas. So the minute I saw that they were selling homemade chili oil, I'm all over it. So that's why I have 2 out here. You don't need to, just buy one, but I love the homemade one. Maybe I'll get adventurous and try to figure out how to make it myself and teach you, I don't know. Before we move on, I will say, if you go to like a dim sum place or a Chinese restaurant and you see a little container with like a spoon and a lid of chili oil sitting on the table and you kind of feel grossed out because it looks kind of grungy and dirty and you're not sure if you want to eat it,
that's how you know it's good, because that means everybody is dipping out of it, and any grungy dirtiness that you see is just residual oil from them putting the spoon back in. Just go for it. You won't go wrong, I promise. You'll be so happy you did. So good. Let's talk a different kind of spice. This is gochujang, which is actually a Korean red pepper paste. I love this because it's kind of hot and sweet. What's cool about this too is you can get this in different levels of heat. This is a mild one. It's not quite as hot as I typically like it, but you can get medium, you can get hot, you can get extra hot in gochujang. It is so fabulously good. It's a very thick, like red paste inside, and a little bit of this goes a long way, but when you smell it, you can smell the sweetness of it too. So it's not just hot, it gives you that hot and sweet. I think that's why I like chinsu so much, is because it gives it a little sweetness that makes it less painful when you're eating it. It adds that heat layer without it being overpowering. So definitely get some of this. We'll use this for a lot of stuff. Last thing in this category of necessities, I know it's a lot, guys, but just trust me, okay? I know you guys are not gonna have 3 of these, but I do, and here's why. I wanted to show you guys the different sizes that you can get. This is Thai curry paste. Thai curry paste is one of those things you can make yourself, but it's a massive pain, and it's very difficult in the States because you can't always get your hands on what you really need. You gotta import a lot. So most people buy this size. I buy this one. Because I love it. I make a lot of curry, and you can put curry in so much different stuff. I'm gonna teach you guys how to put curry in rice. We're gonna do curry in all kinds of different things. So I buy the big, like, industrial size things. You can buy the little cans if you want, or even the little middle size. But these are both Penang, just because that's what I pulled out of my pantry, and this is green. But I also keep red curry, I keep masaman curry, I keep all the curry pastes. And curry is not just Thai. We're gonna eat curry on this channel in a lot of different countries. We'll have Sri Lankan curry, we'll have Japanese curry, we'll do curry in India, where there's a lot of curry and they're not the same. So this is Thai. It's very important you know that. These are Thai curry paste. So you'll only need one of these, but clearly I have much more. Those are all the things that I think are necessary, imperative. You have to have these. You don't need multiple kinds like I have, but just pick and choose what you think is the best here, you guys, and make sure you have those in your home. Now, I'm not mentioning things that I think are staples that you'll already have, like honey, brown sugar, oil. A lot of those things you guys are already gonna stock and have, so I'm not gonna necessarily talk to you about those. But these are some specialty items that I always stock in my house. I could have gotten a lot crazier with this over here, but I had to like rein myself in because I just love all the ingredients. I want to have everything possible in case I see somebody make a recipe and I want to try to play with it and do whatever. I want to have what they have. So these are the specialty items, not necessarily important, but I like to play, so they're important to me. I'm going to start with kaffir lime leaves. This is a Thai ingredient. It's really hard to find this fresh here. I have a lot of difficulty with it. I don't think I've ever seen it fresh here in Texas, but you can buy it dried on Amazon. And so that's what I do. And it yields the same sort of flavor, but still really good. There's actually a window on the back, you can kind of see, but they're so delicious. When you're in Thailand, they put these fresh in curries, but I like to add them either way because it adds an extra flavor to it. So it's dried, but it still works. It's really good. Remember when I said you can get crazy with soy sauce? There's 2 more kinds of soy sauce. There's a 3rd one that's on my list to buy that I don't have yet. This is a dark soy sauce. Dark soy sauce is richer in flavor and sometimes a bit more salty. It depends, because dark soy sauce, sweet soy sauce, and black soy sauce are the 3 other kind of ones you'll see a lot of. Black soy sauce and sweet soy sauce, both very sweet. Dark soy sauce, a little more rich in your kind of salty umami flavor. So I have a dark soy sauce. Sweet soy sauce, I love. Use a lot of this in Thai food. It's fabulous. It's so good. And it's kind of in between a regular soy sauce and like a black soy sauce. Black soy sauce is like molasses. It's so sweet. The first ingredient in a black soy sauce is actually sugar. But this, what they do is they cook it down longer. And so it gets sweeter and it's very thick. See? It's not near like a regular soy sauce. If you pick up sweet soy sauce or black soy sauce and it's not thick, it moves like this, it's not right. It needs to be thick, molassesy, and rich. So they add a lot of sweetness and deliciousness to your food. So I think you need to have them all, but do you really need them? No, probably not. These two are kind of accompanying sauces, vinegars. This is actually Golden Mountain sauce. It's actually a soybean sauce, but it's meant to enhance Thai and Chinese food. And it actually says that on the back of the bottle, funny enough. If you're in Asia, they have something called Maggi sauce. Maggi sauce is really similar to this. It's just a little less salty, but this Green Mountain sauce is like a staple for it. It just adds this whole other layer to your food. This, I can't pronounce this, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a Chinese vinegar, but it has like a plummy sort of smell to it. You know what I recognize this as? It's like a Chinese balsamic vinegar is kind of what it smells like to me. And you can use it in very similar ways. So these are two specialty things. You probably don't need these, but I like them just because I like to play, like I said. This is actually an ingredient I learned about when my parents were vegan several years ago. It's not necessarily an Asian ingredient. You can actually find this at Whole Foods. It's umi plum vinegar. Umi plums are actually umeboshi, which is Japanese, and what they are is a pickled plum. So umeboshi is very salty, it's very vinegary, almost sour. What this is it's basically that flavor in a vinegar. It's delicious. I found out about this from Alicia Silverstone. She used this a lot in her vegan cookbook. My parents were obsessed with it when they were vegan, and therefore I became obsessed with it because it was really delicious in the stuff that she made. So I characterize this as a Asian ingredient just because umeboshi is Asian, but you can use this in a lot of cool stuff. So we're gonna play with that here on our channel. This is something that I kind of think should be on this side of my table because I think this is a necessity, but not everybody cares for this. This is oyster sauce. You can put oyster sauce in a lot of stuff, and when you really start to break down some recipes, they use oyster sauce in it. Like if you go to a Thai restaurant and you really love pad see ew, that has oyster sauce in it. You can put it in fried rice. You can put it in a lot of stuff. It's salty, a little sweet, but it has that kind of fish saucy element to it where it really adds that umami that you want from a really great dish. So I love to keep oyster sauce. I buy the little one because I don't use it as much. Jimmy's not a fan of fishy things, so I don't use it in a ton of stuff, but it's really, really good. Let's talk sugar. Now this is not, before you attack me, this is not ethically a good thing necessarily. Palm sugar is something that has a lot of sort of controversy around it. However, that being said, palm sugar is something that we got used to eating when we were abroad, and it's in a lot of dishes. And the smell of this, y'all, it's like maple sugar met butter met brown sugar. So I feel terrible as a human being because I know it's not necessarily ethically sourced, but it is so epically. I told you there was coconut milk behind that. Palm sugar is one of those, it's not saccharine, super sweet either, so it adds that sweetness without it being like, whoa, sugar. But it's just, oh my gosh, it's just the best. You can get it in these cubes like this. They're hard, so you kind of have to shave them off. Or you can get it in like a jar where you just put a spoon in. I really want to buy the other kind so I have both on hand for when I need more of it. It's easier than shaving off, but just, y'all. Last two things. This is Thai chili powder. Listen, I love this because I love spicy food. If you're making pad Thai, you need Thai chili powder. Understand, going in, I have my label on the top, so I know what it is. Understand, going in, less is more. This, if you are not used to Thai level spice, it will hurt your feelings. It will get so hot so fast you can't eat it. Now, when I say Thai spicy, I can't eat Thai spicy, and I lived there for 5 months. So just know, Thai spicy is hot. So little bits goes a long way. This will last us forever because there's so much of it. I bought a bag of it at our Asian market, but like if you just smell it, like it's red. But like even the smell of it's like, oh, it's hot. It's very hot, but it's delicious and it adds so much flavor to what you're cooking with it. So just be careful and you'll be good to go. The last two things I've got are actually Korean items. This is gochugaru, which is a red pepper powder. It's coarse. This is a coarse one. Red pepper flakes, I guess would be better to say, Korean. And this is their soybean paste. I can't pronounce this one. I could try, but I'll mess it up. So these two things, this is the gochujang in like a powder form. It's just as hot. You buy it in the same sort of way that you do gochujang, but this is so deliciously good. They use this in so much Korean cooking that I love Korean food. One of the places we did not get to go in our travels was Korea, but we ate so much amazing Korean food because we were close to Korea. So there was a lot of places that really did it well, but I'll get to go there someday. But until then, I love to play with Korean flavors. This I only buy to combine with the gochujang to make samjang, which is like a side dish that they use. If they're doing bibimbap or a lot of those kind of things, they'll have samjang to go with that. I'll show you guys how to make it. It's really super easy and it's, oh my gosh. Jimmy doesn't like it as much as I do, but I just live for it. So these aren't necessities, I don't think, for you guys, but I like to have them just because I like Korean food as much as I do. So that way I can make it at home and, you know, I have everything I need. So there you go. That's what I think you guys need for your kitchen. Necessities, extras. Some of these are probably extras, but this is just a small sampling of some of the insanity that I keep in my house. I could have really gotten crazy with it, and I may have already, I don't know, but take this, you guys, and just kind of see what you want to stock, what you want to have in your kitchen. I'll try to have some alternatives for you guys when I'm cooking. I'll try to get not too crazy with some of these recipes to make them more accessible for you guys, but you're pretty set. If you have some of this stuff, you're pretty set. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a comment down below. If there's an ingredient that you guys think I need that I don't have here, please let me know. Put in the comments, I'd love to see it. Also, there is a link in the description to my website. That's where you'll find all of my recipes, social media, all that goodness. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.